After organizing my brother's entire wedding for free, I was handed a Waitress apron right before the reception. "You're better off serving than celebrating," his bride whispered with a smirk. I spent the night carrying trays while guests I grew up with pretended not to know me. 1 year later, she called me desperate for help and I gave her a taste of the same humiliation. I'm not dramatic. I don't cry over every small thing. But what happened at my brother's wedding that cut deep? It's been over a year, and I still think about it. Every time I walk by a wedding dress store or hear the clink of glasses at a restaurant, I remember how it felt to be treated like trash by my own family. I'm 34. I live in Fort Wayne, Indiana. I've worked in event planning for 9 years. It's not glamorous, but I'm good at it. I know how to organize chaos. I've handled screaming brides, broken flower arches, missing groomsmen, and once even a ring bearer who threw up in the limo. I keep things running, no matter what. And I never ask for much. Just respect. Kyle's my younger brother. He's 31 now. Growing up, we weren't tight, but we weren't enemies either. Our dad took off when Kyle was 10. After that, our mom leaned on me. I stepped in a lot. Helped raise him, really. I made dinner, helped with school projects, took on part-time jobs so he could do sports. I gave up my own savings when he got accepted to Purdue and needed help with tuition. He never asked, but he never said thank you either. That's Kyle. He thinks the world owes him, and if someone helps, it's because they should. Then came Allison. She was nothing like our family. I met her once and instantly knew what she was: pretty on the outside, cold underneath. She was used to people doing things for her. The kind of girl who pretends to forget your name while smiling in your face. Still, when they got engaged, I said all the right things. Sent a nice card. Gave her a hug. I didn't know then how deep her cruelty ran. They asked me to help plan the wedding. Actually, no, they told me. Kyle called me one evening and said, "Allison and I need someone to coordinate the wedding stuff. You're the only one who gets how this works." I asked, "Do you have a budget in mind?" He laughed. "Well, we're tight on cash, but it'd be kind of a wedding gift from you, right?" I should have said no. But I said, "Sure." And that was my first mistake. I spent months planning their wedding. Allison sent me Pinterest boards at 2 a.m. Kyle ignored half my messages, then blamed me when something was late. I did everything. Booked the church in Indianapolis. Scheduled the tastings. Built spreadsheets. Called vendors. I even paid for printing the programs out of my own pocket. Not once did they offer to pay me. Not even a thanks. Allison nitpicked every decision. These flowers are too droopy. The table runners aren't gold enough. She was like a walking complaint box. But I held it together. I told myself, just get through it. Then came the wedding day. I was running around in flats and a simple black dress, handling last-minute details. Allison didn't want her makeup artist near the kitchen because it smelled like onions. The cake was 45 minutes late. A groomsman ripped his pants. I solved every single problem. I didn't eat. I didn't sit. I barely drank water. But I kept going because I thought, maybe they'll see how much I did. Maybe Kyle will say something kind. After the ceremony, I finally thought it was over. I was walking into the ballroom when Allison appeared in front of me. She was smiling too wide. "Oh. One more thing," she said. She pulled out a black apron and shoved it into my hands. "You're better off serving than celebrating," she whispered with a smirk. Then she walked off. I stood there, stunned. Like I'd been slapped. Kyle came up behind her. "It'd mean a lot if you helped with food service. Just for tonight." He didn't even look me in the eye. I stared down at the apron. Then at the tray someone shoved into my hands. And like an idiot, I put it on. That whole night, I walked around serving people I'd known my whole life. My uncle didn't recognize me. A neighbor I babysat for once asked me where the restroom was, like I worked there. One of my old classmates said, "You're not with the caterers, are you?" Wait. Oh my God. I wanted to disappear. I left that night around 2 a.m., drove home, and threw the apron in the trash. I sat in the dark for hours. Angry. Humiliated. Not because I worked the event but because I had begged for crumbs of respect from people who didn't see me as family. Just free labor. I didn't hear from Kyle or Allison for months. Then, exactly 1 year later, Allison called me out of nowhere. "Hey," she said, like we were best friends. So funny story. Our planner for this huge gala bailed last minute. "I know it's short notice, but you're just so good at this stuff." She sounded desperate. I said I'd help. But this time, I had a plan. I told her I could take it on, but I played it cool. "Depends on the timeline," I said. "And the pay?" She paused. "Well, we were hoping you'd do it as a favor." I smiled, even though she couldn't see it. "I work full-time now," I told her. "I don't do favors anymore." There was a long silence on the line. Then she said, "We'll pay." She was cornered. I knew it. The event was in 3 weeks, some charity gala she was co-hosting for her law firm's foundation. Fancy, black tie, high-end donors. Her reputation was on the line. She had no one else. So I charged her. High. Not ridiculous, but enough to make her swallow her pride. I sent over a contract with a detailed invoice and timeline. She signed it the next day. Then I got to work. But not in the way she expected. I started pulling together a list of everything that could go wrong at an event like this. I wasn't going to sabotage anything, no. I was going to do everything exactly by the book. But I wasn't going to clean up her messes like before. If she wanted a planner, she'd get one. The real kind. The kind that sends stern reminder emails, holds people accountable, and doesn't accept, "just figure it out," as an answer. From day one, I saw how sloppy she was. She had no RSVP system. No caterer confirmed. No schedule. Nothing locked down. Just a bunch of vague ideas and screenshots from Instagram. She expected me to pull it all together like magic. I didn't. Instead, I made her own every mistake. "Oh, you wanted vegan options? That needed to be locked in last week." "Oh, the florist dropped out? I gave you the vendor list. You didn't confirm them." "Oh, the mayor's office said you missed their final registration window." Every time something slipped, I calmly pointed out that I had flagged it and that it was her responsibility. She started unraveling. The second week, she texted me at 11 p.m. saying the sponsors were backing out. By the third, she was calling in tears. "This can't fall apart. My firm is watching. Kyle's boss is coming. My mother-in-law's friends are on the board." I listened. Patiently. Then I offered a solution that involved her doing more work. She hated it. And I hadn't even started the real part of my plan yet. Because I had one more job to fill: servers. I called in a favor from a friend who runs a private staffing agency. Told her what I needed: reliable people, all briefed on their jobs, dressed to the nines, but with one catch. I'd be working too. In a black dress, hair up, clean apron. Just like last time. I'd carry trays. But this time, it was by choice. This time, the apron was mine. The night of the gala, the venue looked perfect. Grand ballroom, marble floors, gold-rimmed everything. Soft jazz played. Candles flickered. You'd never know it was barely held together by a thread. Allison showed up an hour early, dressed like a senator's wife, all white silk and pearls, acting like she hadn't been crying the night before over late signage and a missing wine shipment. I kept my tone calm and professional. "Staff is arriving now. Timelines taped to the kitchen door. I'll be circulating all night, just like we discussed. She nodded, trying to act like she was in control. What she didn't realize was that my friend Marcy, the staffing manager, had added a personal touch to the server roster. Every single person working that night, the waitstaff, bartenders, even the coat check, were former classmates from our high school. People who had seen me humiliated at Kyle's wedding. I'd reached out to them one by one, explained the job, and reminded them gently about that night. They didn't forget. Most of them remembered exactly how Allison had treated me. Some had seen her whisper that line to me. "You're better off serving." Tonight, they were the ones serving her. And I was right there with them. By the time guests started arriving, Allison was buzzing around, pretending she'd planned the whole thing. Posing for photos. Bragging to donors. I stayed quiet. I let her enjoy her spotlight. Then the first thing went wrong, not because of me, but because she'd ignored my guest count warning. There weren't enough seats. I'd flagged it twice. She told me to just squeeze them in. Now 3 donors were standing awkwardly with no place cards. A woman in a red dress asked, "Am I supposed to sit at the silent auction table?" Allison rushed over, fake laughing, trying to fix it. "It's just a fun mix-up." I walked past her with a tray of champagne flutes. She avoided my eyes. Half an hour later, the AV guy came looking for her. No one had tested the mic setup. Allison had said, "I'll handle that part." She didn't. The mic cut out halfway through her welcome speech. People clapped anyway, politely. But her face went red. She glared at me like it was my fault. Then came the caterer. One of the chicken dishes was undercooked. 2 guests sent it back. One older woman complained loudly. I didn't panic. I just made sure the servers shifted to pass more hors d'oeuvres. Quietly, smoothly, professionally. Allison pulled me aside near the hallway. "This is turning into a mess." I looked her straight in the face and said, "Everything tonight is going exactly according to the plan. The one I handed you 3 weeks ago." She looked like she wanted to scream, but didn't. Then came the moment I had been waiting for. We had arranged a slideshow, a quick, tasteful tribute to the charity's work. Something heartwarming. Except Allison decided to swap it out at the last minute for a short reel showing her philanthropy journey. Glamour shots of her posing at food drives, handing out checks, hugging puppies. She sent the wrong file to the AV team. So right after dinner, as everyone sipped wine and looked up at the screen, it started playing raw footage from the wedding. The venue. The decorations. And me, in the apron. Somehow, she'd uploaded her wedding video instead of her promo reel. There I was, clearly seen clearing dishes in the background. Serving. Sweating. Guests turned to whisper. Some snickered. One guy said, "Wait, wasn't that the planner?" I didn't smile. I didn't flinch. I just kept walking trays through the crowd, quiet and calm. Allison looked like she was going to throw up. Kyle showed up late. He hadn't been part of any of the planning. We hadn't spoken since the wedding. He saw me walking by, did a double take, and said, "You're working here?" I looked him dead in the face and said, "No, Kyle. I'm running it." And then I walked away. After the slideshow incident, Allison stormed off into a hallway. I waited 10 minutes before checking on her. She was standing by the emergency exit, shoulders shaking. At first, I thought she was crying. But she wasn't. She was fuming. "What the hell was that?" she hissed. "You set me up." "I know you did." I didn't deny it. I didn't confirm it either. "You gave them the wrong file," I said. "You were in charge of submitting the slideshow content. I told you 3 times to double-check." She stared at me, mouth open, face red. She didn't have a comeback. "This whole night," I said, voice low, "was exactly what you did to me. Only I didn't embarrass you. You did that yourself. I just stopped cleaning up your messes. I walked away. Let her stew in that silence. The rest of the night went on, messy but manageable. People left early. The donors were polite but unimpressed. A few said, "Nice event," but no one lingered. No one raved. No one cared. The next morning, she called me. "People are saying it looked unprofessional. They're asking who planned it." I said, "They can ask me. I've got everything documented." Then she tried one last trick. "If this gets back to the firm, it could be bad for my career." I said, "Should have thought of that before handing me an apron." She hung up. Kyle called a week later. I didn't pick up. He left a voicemail. "Allison's in a bad place. You took it too far." I deleted it. But I did take it too far. Not for what I did but for how long I let myself hold the anger. I spent a year waiting to humiliate her. That's time I could have used for something better. I let their cruelty live rent-free in my head. I let myself believe their actions defined my worth. They didn't. After the gala, I updated my portfolio, landed 2 new high-paying clients, and finally opened my own planning business. I named it Clean Slate Events. And I keep that old apron folded in a drawer. Not as a trophy. Not as a scar. As a reminder. That I may serve but I never kneel. And I never forget.